Hello, everybody. I just quickly want to say something. Yesterday, I watched a woman. She's would I say a blogger or a content creator? Let me just use the word content creator. I watch her. They're based in South Africa. I watched her talk about her child. I don't know whether that video was made yesterday or maybe a previous video they had that just pump up my social media platform, so I had to watch. They're based in South Africa. She talked about her son, one of her sons, because I think she got two sons. One of her sons in school, he's in grade seven. Grade seven is a secondary school. I mean, yeah, he's in secondary, and there's a senior with senior class. That should be in Nigeria SS1. Grade seven should be SS1. I don't know. I don't know. Let me just base it like that. I don't know. I can't tell. But he is in grade one. So a particular South African girl was making passes on this same, he's 12, and the girl that was making passes on this little boy is 14, 2 years older than the boy, and they are not in the same class. According to that story, she said that the girl had already given a note, and like when I said a note, they call it love letter, right? A love letter to this young little boy, that he came home, is well trained. At least he remembered his mom. He came home and handed this letter to his mom. The mom read the letter and casually told her son to ignore the girl in school. So she said she was just at home resting when he had a phone call from her son. Yes, we had provision. We make provision for children to speak to their parents when they are in distress, or the school management calling parents up when their children are in distress in school. We give such opportunity to children. So he happened to call the mom to come to the school that he's in trouble. His mom went to the school only to be told that this young little boy went to the toilet to pee from his class. He was praised. While the lecture was going on, he went to toilets to pee. This little uncultured little brat of a girl from South Africa followed him to the male restroom. He said the girl nearly saw the gigi gigi. He just quickly covered up his bum bum, his nakedness, stood on this little boy's way that he must kiss her in school. Open school, that the little boy must kiss her before she could allow him pass, get back to class. I said, teacher, he took permission from the teacher to use the restroom. Remember, the teacher was still in school, and I believe they have CCTV everywhere. This happened. So angrily, he pushed the girl. He fell back to the wall. She fell to the wall and fell on the floor. Had some sustained bruises on her arm. Sorry. So they called parents. When this little boy called his own mom to come, so the school authority or management had to call the other girl's parents to come. It became a war. Like the young lady, that's the mother of the little girl, was not ashamed at all. You weren't ashamed that your child is not trained to ask a little boy to be. That is an assault. It's a sexual assault in school. And Chineke. Then that boils down to my own problem. I have this problem. I will still say something about that, because when you live down here this way, when you live in this part of this world where we live, it's as if the only people who does immoral practice are blacks. We, the Africans, we live a very bad. Everything that has to do with Nigerian passport, any African passport, we are the bad people. We are the people who commit crimes. When they talk about crime representatives, we, the Africans, the blacks, more especially blacks. Here, if I tell you if I have to open my Bible. I don't want to talk much. So yesterday, when I went to school to pick my son, he brought his nails out. I said, "Who did cut your nails?" He said, "He took some cutting, um, uh, what's it called? Tools from," I said boy or girl, he mentioned a boy. He said, "Well, who did you get? Who did this?" He mentioned someone. He was manipulated to call someone else's name. He was manipulated to call. I said in school, the teacher was not aware. I never knew. I trained him to the extent that he has to show any new thing, anything he sees, anything he touches, he has to show. Sharing he brings to me to open. Everything comes to my table first. So, in other words, he took it to school, took that lifestyle to school. That he went to his teacher's table and showed his teacher too. Teacher was like happy. Who did this? I did it myself. Teacher had a lot of people to take care of. In a class, you have more than 20 children to take care of. You can't put your eyes on a particular child. You just still take care. And this school, I don't think they have assistants. Some school have their home teacher, their room teacher. Then they have some assistants that 2 assistants should be in class helping out with it. But when it comes to our older students from grade 4, 6, 7, they don't have much because the children can arrange their things themselves. But in kindergartens, I think they have assistant teachers helping the classroom teacher. That's the form teacher. So my kid's nails was caught in school by an unknown gunman, unknown native doctor with a gun. His nails was cut and packed yesterday. So when he called the name, I wrote the teacher. The teacher said, "Yes, David showed me to. I was happy with him. He told me he did it himself." I said, "Okay, teacher, take your time." It was afternoon class. "Okay, tomorrow you can find out this is the name he called. Then find out with your students whether this particular boy did it." Could you imagine that teacher found that this boy David called had no clue. He had no knowledge about what happened with David Throckmorton, let alone cutting his nails. In other words, yesterday, David was manipulated from the witch and his coven, where they have meetings of the witches and wizards. David was manipulated to call another boy's name. In other words, they want me to have problem. Thank God it was not the penis we were talking about. Because that, you can imagine my children's penis stand like this. Now, I want to just talk about the nails alone. Because this is the one that was brought to my knowledge, right? So when I go to school this morning, the teacher never knew I was so hot. So I stood downstairs around the management area. David had already gone to class. The teacher didn't see me. She was curious, looking around whether I'm gone home already. But I must come upstairs to see David seated in class. So it was on my way from the staircase. I saw her, the way she was just curious. I said, "Madam, I've gone to ask all the students. Even the boy and your son mentioned never had any clue on what David was saying." I said, "No, don't bother. He's a native doctor. He takes our hair, even the private part hairs. When you cut it back, you'll be at home and be doing, who touched me? Hey," from his coven of witches. You can imagine an experiencing. This is an African country, but I'm telling you that one in African country is even you can pour your heart at this area, this ungodly area where we reside, child. This area where we stay is a matter of life and death. His nails This was just because recently I noticed that David was imputed. David was, he was, I don't know, he was, I don't know how to explain this. He was made to ask me for nail cutter like every other day. Like every other day, he comes and asks me, I want to cut my nails. Everywhere, I want to cut my nails. So it became a case. And before I do this myself, I allow them sleep deeply and I cut them. But recently, I noticed the curiosity of David asking me for nail cutters. So I took all the things that we cut nails with, I did it myself. I only use it for myself. Ya bụrụ dibia mụ na ya rụkọrọ ọrụ na-achọ principal onye dibia na-achọ isi. If you don't understand Igbo, somebody will explain to you. If you don't understand my name, I can't explain everything. This is what is happening right now. I don't want to drag you. I don't want to drag you back. If I have to tell you stories, we hear from parents, students, association in all this little relationship we've got with children and their parents. If I have to tell you, I don't want to talk. I don't know how to talk to that lady in South Africa. This is what I'm facing. This is the one they let me know. What about Hispanics? They didn't tell me this. I was not such news have done brought to me because I know it can happen also. Let me end it here. I will still come back to this. I'll come back to this to educate you more on what is happening around here, most precisely in my house, relating to my children and my own self. God one, and let me go to pick David. It's almost 10 minutes more. 10 minutes more before I go to pick him from school. This is what is happening right now. When I listen to cases like this, ona boil them case miracle because it's as if I just want to reach out to the parents. I don't just want to go to the authority. I want to go to that school. I want express because if you watch what goes on here, if you watch the way Chineke were treated as instructors of children in countries that are not our country. You want to fight back. You won't even want any parents to say something that will make you boil your heart. You just want to sleep. Before you know it, I'm in South Africa. In that school, I'll finish what I want to do. I'm flying back. If you consider the kind of treatment, ill treatment we receive in countries that is not ours, where we work, you want to build a career, you work with them, with the citizen of the country, how you're treated, how your children are treated. I said, I work in a school where I'll be taking care of other children in a different class. My own child, I enrolled in the same school. A year and 8 months in break school will be sent out of class that is disturbing the other children. It's as if I want to fly down to that country. You're talking about suing because let it be that you have gone to lay complaint to any nearby police station, at least have their report, take the report and sue them. Don't even waste, don't relent. Don't relent. This is in South Africa. I'm talking about Ebas. Ebas, I hope you understand my language. I know you understand my language. You'll be taking care, see, wholeheartedly. If you're a mother who have gone through the stress, the pain of labor, at least you consider other children like that. We don't consider when you walk with children, you don't even consider your own child. You see everybody, same everybody. You don't call me mom. You call me what other children call me, teacher. I no preference. No special. That speciality or whatever thing you call it should happen at home. But once it has to do with my job, every child in that place is the same. No discrimination, no sort of sentiment. Even if you're my friend, I've had problems with friends whose children are in my class because they wanted me to give upper hand. I said, never will I do that. I don't like that kind of life. I see it as wickedness. I'm not being fair. But I can't do anything bad. Just let them stay together. No preferential treatment. But I can't hurt your child. But let them, they are the same. Can you imagine the kind of experience a woman is having? Kibro mama ya, kibro mama wata kiri 14 years in a job. Kisa. You came to fight. You didn't put down your head down in shame. You came to fight. My father will slaughter you in the school before you get home. As his female child who goes to look for a kiss. Child. In Africa, Africa, South Africa, I just, as if, I know why I didn't mention this thing yesterday when I watched this video. I was waiting to get the result today from school. Then I'll come back to the video. I was just waiting to get the result from my son's school. If I have to tell you, you will take your children out from school if you are abroad. I watch a child being molested, when they say they bully them. I don't have to. He won't even enroll your child in any school at all if you live abroad. And this part of the world where we stay, education is like getting a diamond. If you can afford a very good school here, you're rich. There is nothing like free education unless with the people who is their country, who the bona fide citizen of this country. If you can afford to give your child a good education in this country, you're rich. We pay in months thousands of naira if you're in Nigeria. You can imagine when you calculate the money you pay abroad in dollars and pounds to your own currency. People in Nigeria say they can pay 3 million for a child. For a child in a section, that is a section is a million, or probably 1,800,000, 2 million to be precise, is a section. But we are talking about in months, 6 months, you're paying over 2 million. In 6 months, then you have to pay the other 6 months. So to say, but we say sometimes a section is 8 months because of the holidays interval within the year before the section runs out. In this part of the world where they don't have, it's not an English-speaking country. Education is a business. It's for the bourgeois, the movers and shakers of this country. So if you have got the resources, you see why people who have no money like us want to work so we can be able to get like 50% off from the money we pay the establishment that our children are enrolled into. Or we want to we work as a staff so we can be able to get 50% off the normal payment. I'll tell you more, but let me stop here because I have to go pick David. My fellow lady, wherever you are, just take heart. Know that if you don't take that matter, if you don't take it up, next time you'll be surprised that his penis will be standing. And one thing you don't know, they know how to. These people are so much into what they call it, racism. Racial discrimination there is very high. These are blacks like us. If you don't take it out, they will take that child for granted, and it will result in what? Bullying him. Let that your body, and you don't consider changing school because you never can tell. The devil you know is better than the angel you know. And I am not an advocate of parents moving their child from one institute to another institute because they change teachers and it affects them morally, it affects them physically. I am not even talking about educational wise, changing your children from one institute to another affects the life, even the study of that child if they're still tender. Before they will start learning how the teacher speak, learning how the teacher walk, how does he understanding, trying to relate with the new school, getting involved into the system. No, it takes them back. So I will not advise you to start taking your child from one different school to another. It affects the life of your child. Educationally, is not encouraged at all. So let's keep it here, but do not forget to take that matter up if you want the sanity of your child. If you don't take it up, that your child will ever be taken for granted in us. They will push him around. They will definitely push him around. This is sexual abuse. That child is not his mate at all. She is 20 years ahead of him. 2 years is just like, for a girl, we are more matured than the boys. A girl child of 14 years is more mature than a 17-year-old child, male child. So be so sensible enough to lay that complaint to the court. At least that will shake the parents of the girl if you want to take back the sanity of your son. Good luck.